Hey guys, it's Gamer here this time with a video on Reverse 1999. The game just came out, and this video will be a collection of tips to help you in the early game and start building your account in the right direction. So with all that said, let's just jump right into it. So for everyone who's starting the game, there is a beginner banner where you are guaranteed one 6-star DPS unit out of a maximum of 30 rolls. I've already used up my rolls, so the banner doesn't appear for me now. But usually the banner is here for anyone that just started the game. So the 3 possible 6-star units you can get are Eternity, Lilia, and Regulus. All units are really strong S-tier DPS units that you can build a team around, and there's no bad choice out of those 3 units. If you do want to get a specific unit out of those 3 for any reason, you can choose to reroll until you get that unit. I'll talk more about rerolling in my next tip. All these units all have different strengths. Lilia is going to be the strongest for single target damage. Eternity is a strong DPS that also has self-sustained abilities. Regulus can drain Moxie from enemies and give your allies conceal. You can also aim for a different 6-star unit by rolling on the standard banner here. So some of the best units to aim for if you go this route are Centurion and An Lee. Centurion is one of the strongest damage dealer units in the game with no real weakness. And An Lee is one of the best units in the game for buffing your team and can deal a good amount of damage herself. If you do decide to roll on the standard banner to aim for a 6-star, you can then begin rolling on the beginner banner to also get Lilia, Eternity, or Regulus. And when you do that, you start your account off with 2 6-star units in the early game. Keep in mind that trying to get a specific 6-star on the standard banner can be time consuming, as you're likely going to have to reroll over and over again, which I'll talk more about in depth in my next tip. In this tip, I'm going to give a quick overview on rerolling in this game. I'll include a link to a detailed guide in the description that will go over all the details of rerolling in depth. So the best and most efficient way to reroll in this game is by using BlueStacks emulator and using multi-instance. Keep in mind that multi-instance can be resource intensive and will require a good PC for the best experience. If you want to reroll using your phone, the best way is to use salted emails for making an account. You can reroll on the PC client, but it reinstalls the game every time you want to reroll. So there's 2 reroll routes, and the reroll route you want to use depends on whether you want a 6-star from the standard banner. If you do want a 6-star from the standard banner, you want to do the fast reroll method. This method takes about 7 to 10 minutes per reroll. So in this method, you go through the tutorial you get to stage 1-5 in the main story. Then you use your pre-registration rewards for a 10 pull on the standard banner. And you keep doing this over and over again in rerolling until you get the desired 6-star you want from your 10 pull. Once again, this can be very time consuming, as you might have to do this over and over again to get the unit you want. The other reroll route is the efficient reroll, and this is if you want a specific unit from the beginner banner. So you want to use your pre-registration rewards, and you want to keep pushing the main story until you get enough currency to do all 30 rolls on the beginner banner. This can take about 30 to 40 minutes per reroll. And basically you keep rerolling until you get the desired 6-star you want from the beginner banner. I do want to mention that personally, I don't think it's worth the trouble to reroll. You get plenty of currency in this game, and you can build a good team using characters you get for free. Once again, you're guaranteed 1 strong DPS from the beginner banner. The Netto is a good support unit you can get for free from playing the game, and you definitely want to build her. So DK is a good healer you can get for free from login bonuses after 8 days of logging in. I'll talk more about team building and who to prioritize investing resources in a later tip. So after you use your rolls on the beginner banner, there's 3 possible banners you can roll for afterwards. Once again, there's the standard banner called Amid the Water. There's also 2 limited banners out right now. The first limited banner is 1 gram of curiosity and includes rate up for characters such as Softbee, X, and Charlie. Softbee is a really good healer who can also do quite a bit of damage. X is a support unit that can disable enemies. Charlie is a good DPS unit that can match Lilia's damage with enough dupes. And she is a 5-star, so it's easier to get dupes for her. All these units are S and A tier, so they're all strong units. The other limited banner is a Clang of Sword and Armor, and include rate ups for A Knight, Born Bloom, and Tenement. A Knight is a good DPS that can buff the team's damage with his ultimate. Born Bloom is the best debuffer for reality-based damage teams, and she can also do a lot of damage herself. Tenement can provide shields and can deal quite a bit of damage as well. Once again, these units are all S and A tier. You can't go wrong rolling for either banners as they all have good units, so it's all up to preference. And the rated up characters on each banner have 1 DPS unit, 1 support unit, and 1 healer / sustain unit. I would roll for 1 gram of curiosity if you want a good dedicated healer early on in the game. So for most content, you will have a team of 3 units on the field at one time. There will be a 4th unit you can have in reserve in case one of your units die. An ideal team will consist of 1 DPS unit, one support unit for mostly applying buffs or debuffs, and one healer slash sustain unit for keeping your team alive. So an example of a team I'm building towards is Lilia as the DPS, Born Bloom as the support, and Sothby as the healer. In the early game, you don't really need a healer as much, and you can pretty much run any team composition you want, such as 2 DPS units and 1 support, or 2 supports and 1 DPS. In the endgame content, you definitely want a healer on your team. Once again, you do get DK for free, who is a healer, after 8 days of logging it. As for investing resources, you want to upgrade and push your DPS unit the most as much as possible. For most people in the early game, it's most likely going to be the 6-star you get from the beginner banner. So for me, it's going to be Lilia. Then I would upgrade units that can fit on a team with that DPS unit. Ideally, you want to build a complete team with 1 DPS, 1 support, and 1 healer. Early game, you might want to build and upgrade 2 support units until you get your healer. And for the early game, I would try to keep a maximum of 4 units that you focus on upgrading, so you don't spread your resources too thin. I do want to mention that there's 2 characters you get for free that in general are worth building. And if you build them up to a certain point, you get all your resources back. Those units are Zaneto, and Eagle. So feel free to invest on those units until you get stronger units later down the road. For account progression, you want to push the main story as much as possible. Pushing the main story stages will give you currency for pulls, as well as unlock the other modes in the game, such as the ones for farming resources. Completing Chapter 2 should unlock most of the important features of this game. So you'll unlock the resource stages by going through the main story. Doing a resource stage for the first time will unlock higher difficulties for that resource stage. Higher difficulties give out more resources per run, so you want to push these stages and get to the highest difficulty that you can get to. Higher difficulties might be locked until you get to a certain part in the main story. For example, for this resource stage, I have to clear story mode 3.7 to unlock it. So this resource stage is for farming dust, and I would focus on farming this resource stage as dust is used to upgrade your units. So if you're ever stuck at a part in the main story, I would farm dust and upgrade your units until you're strong enough to beat the main story stage. Once you beat a resource stage for the first time, you can use the replay feature to farm the stage. Replay is pretty much the autoplay feature in this game. You can set the rewards up to 4 times maximum, which means that you get 4 times the reward for 1 replay, but you obviously need 4 times the stamina or activity as it's called in this game. Eventually, you'll unlock Numa Analysis, which are stages for farming Psycubes. Psycubes are the gear you can equip on your characters. You get 2 free Numa analysis runs per day, so you definitely want to use those free runs. After your free runs, it will cost activity if you want to do another run in the same day. Eventually, you'll unlock the stages for farming materials or upgrading the insight of your unit. Insight is pretty much limit breaking a unit, so you can upgrade that unit further. I would prioritize upgrading the insight of your DPS unit the most. The material you will need depend on the type of your DPS unit. So be sure to check what materials you need to upgrade the insight of your DPS by going to this page. For example, Lilia needs Starlit Ascent. And you get Starlit Ascent by farming this stage. Once again, these stages have different difficulties, with higher difficulties giving more resources. So you want to get to the highest difficulty you can push. My last tip is how to redeem coupon codes. To redeem a coupon code, go to Settings, go to Account, go to Exchange Code, and this is how you enter in your coupon code. There's currently 1 coupon code active right now, which I'll include in the description. So that's it for all my tips on early game progression. I plan to have other videos on this game, such as combat tips and examples of team compositions. If you like this video and want more content on Reverse 1999, Honkai Star Rail, and other gacha games, hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next video.